Good, everyone.
Let me ask you something. If you woke up tomorrow and everything you owned, your car, your house, your bank account was gone, would you still be successful? For many people, that question is terrifying because we've been taught to measure success by what we have, how big our house is, how expensive our clothes are, how many followers we can count on social media. But I'm here to challenge that idea. Your success is not about money, and it's definitely not about stuff. Let me tell you why. Money is a tool, not a trophy. It's useful, yes. It gives us options, security, opportunities, but it doesn't define who we are. If money made us successful, then the most honest, hardworking people struggling to make ends meet would be considered failures. And we know that's not true. We know success is about more than dollars in a bank account. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in the illusion that success is measured by what we own. We live in a culture that celebrates material achievements. Cars, homes, designer clothes, high-paying jobs, and shiny objects that signify status. Social media only amplifies this perception, turning every post into a highlight reel of expensive vacations, luxury purchases, and carefully curated lifestyles. But when we strip away the filters, the likes, and the glamour, what's left? What does success actually mean when you remove the price tag? The truth is, real success has nothing to do with what you own. It has everything to do with who you are. Who you are kind of person you become, the values you uphold, the way you treat people when there's nothing to gain is the foundation of meaningful success. Your character, your integrity, your kindness, your resilience, these are the things that define you, not your bank balance, not your zip code, and not the brand of your shoes. There's a reason why some of the most respected individuals in the world are not the wealthiest, but those who lead with authenticity and purpose. Think about the teachers who dedicate their lives to shaping future generations, the single parents who work tirelessly to provide for their children, the community leaders who build bridges and serve others without expecting praise or recognition. Their success isn't measured by possessions, it's measured by the strength of their spirit and the legacy they leave behind. Let's consider a simple example. Imagine two people. One lives in a massive mansion, drives a luxury car, and earns 7 figures a year, but treats people poorly, lacks empathy, and lives only for their own comfort. The other has modest means, lives in a small home, but shows up every day with honesty, humility, and a heart for helping others. Who is more successful? It's not a trick question. Most of us instinctively recognize that the second person is living a more meaningful life. Why? Because success that is only external will always be fragile. It's temporary. It's dependent on circumstances, economy, or image. But success that comes from within is unshakable. It's built on something deeper and more enduring. One of the biggest mistakes we make is tying our self-worth to external success. When we think we're only valuable because of what we have or what we can show, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Possessions can be lost, titles can be taken, applause fades, but who you are, that inner core of principles, passions, and purpose that can grow stronger over time, it can't be stolen and it can't be bought. Think of success like a tree. The leaves might represent your accomplishments, the trunk your daily actions, but the roots, what keeps you grounded, are your character, your values, your relationships, and your sense of purpose. You can trim the branches or lose the leaves, but if the roots are deep and healthy, the tree will continue to grow. Likewise, if you chase outer success without developing inner strength, you're like a tree with no roots, easily knocked over by the first storm. This isn't to say that money and material things are bad. They're not. They can absolutely enrich your life and give you opportunities to enjoy life more fully. But they should be outcomes, not the goal. They should be tools, not trophies. When we chase money and stuff as the primary objective, we lose sight of what truly trues. But when we chase purpose, growth, and contribution, success becomes something more than a number. It becomes a life well lived. We also need to remember that every person defines success differently. For one person, it might mean building a business that makes a difference in the world. For another, it might mean raising children who are kind and compassionate. For someone else, it might mean overcoming adversity and simply showing up every day. None of these definitions are wrong. What matters is that your version of success aligns with your values, not someone else's expectations. When you focus on who you are becoming rather than what you're collecting, something shifts. You stop living for validation and start living from conviction. You stop competing and start collaborating. You stop worrying about how things look and start caring about how things feel inside your own heart and in the lives of those around you. In the end, no one will remember you for the stuff you own. They'll remember how you made them feel. They'll remember whether you were honest, kind, courageous, and real. That's the kind of success that stands the test of time. So the next time you feel tempted to measure your life by what you have, ask yourself a better question. Who am I becoming? Am I living with integrity? Am I growing? Am I helping others? If the answer is yes, then you are already successful, whether the world sees it yet or not. Because true success isn't about what's in your garage. It's about what's in your heart. Money is a powerful tool. It allows us to access opportunities, provide for ourselves and our families, and enjoy a certain level of comfort and freedom. It can open doors to education, healthcare, travel, and security. But while money is undeniably important in practical terms, it should never be confused with personal worth. The amount of money you earn, save, or spend is not a reflection of your value as a human being. In today's world, that distinction is often blurred. From a young age, we're taught, sometimes subtly, sometimes directly, that success is tied to income. We hear phrases like high achiever and successful entrepreneur and assume they're synonymous with wealthy. We see public figures flaunting luxury lifestyles, and we start to believe that financial abundance is the thoughted indicator of a life well lived. But that belief is not only misleading, it's harmful. Money can buy convenience. It can even buy influence, but it cannot buy character, and it cannot create meaning. A person with a full bank account and an empty soul is not successful. They're simply wealthy, and there's a difference. Too often, people tie their self-esteem to their earnings. When they're doing well financially, they feel proud, validated, even superior. But when money is tight, they begin to doubt themselves, question their worth, and feel like they've somehow failed. This mindset is a trap because the reality is money flows in and out. Economies shift, jobs are lost, businesses fail, unexpected events happen. If your identity is tied to your financial status, then your sense of self becomes fragile, constantly at the mercy of things outside your control. Think of a hammer. It's a useful tool. You can build a house with it. You can fix something broken, but you wouldn't say the hammer defines your success or value. It's just a tool, one of many that can help you do meaningful work. The same goes for money. When used wisely, it can support a better life, but it doesn't make the life meaningful. That comes from how you use it, why you use it, and who you become in the process. Some of the kindest, most selfless, and inspiring people in the world live without great wealth. They live with purpose, compassion, and strength. They give without expecting anything in return. They show up for others. They fight for justice. They teach. They serve. They create. They heal. Their impact can't be measured in dollars. Their success is in the lives they touch, not the things they own. And on the flip side, we've all seen examples of people who have accumulated vast amounts of money but live empty, disconnected lives. Some chase wealth endlessly, hoping it will bring them happiness or fulfillment, only to discover that no amount of money can fill a spiritual or emotional void, because money can buy distractions, but it can't buy peace. It can fund pleasure, but it can't manufacture purpose. This isn't to say that you shouldn't strive for financial success. There's nothing wrong with wanting to earn more, live comfortably, or create generational wealth. But the key is understanding that those financial goals should serve your larger purpose, not become the purpose itself. Money should help you live a life aligned with your values, not replace those values. The healthiest mindset is one that sees money as a means, not an end. Ask yourself, what do I want money for? Is it to support my family, to have more time to volunteer, to create, to rest? Is it to build a business that gives back? Is it to travel, to learn, to explore the world and grow as a person? When your financial goals are tied to a deeper why, they become more meaningful and less toxic. You no longer chase money for validation. You use it with intention. It's also important to remember that the amount of money someone has is not always a reflection of how hard they work or how talented they are. Plenty of people work multiple jobs, put in long hours, and show tremendous dedication, yet struggle financially due to systemic barriers, circumstances, or the nature of their profession. Meanwhile, others may have inherited wealth or benefited from privilege. Measuring worth by wealth ignores these realities and reinforces an unfair and unrealistic standard. We must redefine success in a way that honors effort, growth, kindness, and contribution, not just accumulation. We must recognize that a teacher changing lives in a classroom, a nurse caring for patients, a parent raising children with love and sacrifice, or an artist creating beauty in the world is no less successful than a millionaire CEO. Their value is not diminished by their paycheck. Your worth is inherent. It's in how you show up, how you speak to others, how you lead, serve, and love. Money might enhance your life, but it will never define your life. You are not a bank account. You are not a job title. You are not a number. In the end, the legacy you leave won't be counted in dollars. It will be written in how you made people feel, how much light you brought into dark places, how bravely you lived your truth, and how deeply you loved. Use money, enjoy it, be smart with it, but never mistake it for your worth. Because your story, your soul, your presence are priceless. Always have been, always will be. We live in a world surrounded by stuff. We buy things to make us feel better, to signal success, or to keep up with what everyone else is doing. Our homes fill up with gadgets, clothes, and decor. Our pockets fill with receipts and devices. Our lives become cluttered, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally by the pursuit of things. And yet, when we look back on the moments that truly mattered, very few of them have anything to do with possessions. Things fade, they break, go out of style, get lost, or become obsolete. That phone you waited in line to buy will eventually feel outdated. That car you worked so hard for will lose its shine. Even your most treasured items, jewelry, collectibles, tech, are still at the end of the day just things. No matter how expensive or rare, they don't define who you are or why you matter. What does last, what truly endures, is purpose. Purpose is the inner fire that fuels you. It's what drives you to get up when life knocks you down. It's what makes you feel alive, fulfilled, and connected. Unlike possessions, which can be taken away, purpose is something that grows within you. It's not dependent on your bank account or your address. It's something you carry with you, no matter your circumstance. If you've ever lost a cherished possession, you'll understand how temporary things really are. A phone can be replaced. A home can be rebuilt. But a sense of meaning, that's something no one can give you and no one can take away. Purpose gives you a reason to persevere. It makes even the most mundane days feel worthwhile. When you live with purpose, your actions have weight. Your words carry impact. And your time is spent intentionally, not wasted, chasing surface level validation. Possessions are external. Purpose is internal. That's why when people reach the end of their lives, they rarely talk about what they own. They talk about what they did, who they loved, what they stood for, how they made a difference. They reflect on the lives they touched, not the luxury items they purchased. And that's because the human soul doesn't crave things. It craves meaning. Think about the people who have had the greatest influence on you. It's probably not because of what they owned, but because of who they were and how they lived. Maybe it was a teacher who believed in you, a friend who supported you through a hard time, or a mentor who showed you what was possible. Their power came from their purpose, not their possessions. You don't have to be famous, rich, or powerful to live with purpose. You just have to decide that your life means something more than collecting stuff. You have to choose values over vanity, impact over image, contribution over consumption. Our culture loves to sell us the idea that happiness lies in the next purchase. That if we just buy this one thing, we'll finally feel fulfilled. But we've all had moments where we got what we wanted, only to find the joy was fleeting. Because happiness that depends on things will always be fragile. But happiness that comes from purpose, that's sustainable, that's real. Purpose makes hard days feel bearable, and good days feel extraordinary. It gives you resilience when life gets difficult and gratitude when things go well. When you know your why, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop chasing things you don't need to impress people who don't matter. You become grounded, clear, focused. This doesn't mean you have to live without possessions or deny yourself the things you enjoy. It simply means you don't build your identity around them. You can enjoy nice things without letting them define your value. You can own them without letting them own you. Purpose is deeply personal. For one person, it might be raising a family with love and integrity. For another, it might be building a business that helps others. For someone else, it might be creating art, volunteering, teaching, or standing up for what they believe in. There is no one-size-fits-all definition. The key is to ask yourself, what makes you feel alive? What makes time fly? What lights you up and leaves the world a little better because you were in it? When you pursue purpose over possessions, your legacy changes. You don't just leave behind a collection of items, you leave behind a story, a message, a ripple effect that lives on in people's hearts. And that more than any material success is the true measure of a life well lived. In a world obsessed with the surface, be someone who lives with depth. Don't just collect things, collect moments, lessons, experiences, and connections. Don't just chase success, define it for yourself in a way that has nothing to do with what you own and everything to do with who you are. Because one day, the things you've gathered will fade, but the purpose you live by, that will echo long after you're gone. We all want to succeed. We want to be seen, heard, respected. We want to do well in life to feel like our efforts matter and our lives have meaning. So we chase what the world tells us success looks like: titles, achievements, money, popularity, status. We think that if we just reach a certain level, if we can finally land that job, buy that house, earn that income, or receive that award, we'll feel fulfilled. We imagine that once we're there, we'll feel complete, confident, and happy. But here's the hard truth. You can have every visible marker of success and still feel completely empty inside. It's a strange and disorienting feeling to make it by the world's standards and realize that it doesn't feel like you thought it would, that the joy you imagined never shows up, that the peace and confidence you expected are nowhere to be found. On paper, your life looks great, but in your heart, something is missing. That missing piece is fulfillment. Fulfillment doesn't come from what you achieve. It comes from why you're doing it. It comes from alignment with your values, from living in a way that feels honest and true. It's not about how much you have. It's about how much meaning you find in what you do and who you are. And no amount of external success can substitute for that. There are countless stories of people who spent their entire lives climbing ladders only to realize they were leaning against the wrong wall. They hit every goal, checked every box, and still found themselves wondering, is this it? Why don't I feel satisfied? Because success without inner peace isn't success. It's performance. It's survival. It's distraction disguised as accomplishment. The truth is, fulfillment can't be faked. You can wear the mask, you can smile in the photos, you can post the wins online, but when the lights go off and the noise fades, you're left with yourself. And if you don't like who you are or why you're doing what you're doing, none of that external validation matters. It can't fill the void. Is it meant to discourage ambition? Goals are good, growth is good, but the process has to feed your soul. If your goals are only driven by fear, comparison, or ego, you might reach them and still feel unfulfilled. You might even lose parts of yourself along the way. Your health, your relationships, your joy, only to discover that the success you were chasing came at too high a cost. We often get caught up in proving ourselves to parents, to peers, to strangers on the internet. We chase careers we don't love, buy things we don't need, and live lives that aren't truly ours, all in pursuit of being enough. But fulfillment doesn't come from proving anything to anyone. It comes from living in alignment with your truth. You know, you're fulfilled when your life feels congruent, when what you believe, what you value, and how you live all match. When you stop pretending, when you stop chasing things you don't even want just because you think you should. When you stop saying yes to everyone else and start saying yes to yourself, that's where real peace lives. That's where joy begins. One of the most dangerous lies we're told is that once I have this, I'll be happy. Once I get the promotion, the house, the body, the partner, then I'll feel complete. But fulfillment isn't a destination. It's a daily practice. It's something you create moment by choosing to be present, grateful, and aligned with what matters to you. It's found in small, honest decisions, in the courage to say no when something doesn't feel right, in the awareness to slow down, and in the willingness to go deeper than the surface. Some of the most fulfilled people in the world don't have extraordinary resumes. They haven't gone viral. They don't live in mansions. But they live with purpose. They show up for the people they love. They create, they serve, they grow, and they stay true to themselves. Their lives might look simple from the outside, but on the inside, they're rich beyond measure. And then there are others with everything, fame, money, success, but who are quietly crumbling under the weight of expectations and emptiness. Because what's the point of reaching the top if you're miserable when you get there? That's why fulfillment must be the foundation, not the bonus. It can't be what you hope to find at the end of your journey. It has to be part of how you build your life from the beginning. So if you're working hard, if you're pushing toward a goal, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because it aligns with who I am or because I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't? Is this building my joy or just my resume? Am I proud of who I'm becoming? Success isn't wrong. It's just incomplete without fulfillment. And fulfillment isn't found in applause, money, or recognition. It's found in peace, purpose, and presence. It's what lets you go to sleep at night with a quiet mind and a full heart. So don't just chase what looks good. Pursue what feels right. Build a life that doesn't just impress people, but one that nourishes you from the inside out. Because a life that looks successful but feels empty isn't really success at all. Who you are matters more than what you have. It's easy to forget this in a world that constantly places value on appearance, status, and wealth. From social media feeds to glossy magazines, we're surrounded by messages that suggest success is defined by the size of your bank account or the luxury of your lifestyle. But deep down, we all know this truth. It's not your money, but your character that truly defines you. Your character is what speaks when you have nothing to show. It's a part of you that remains when the spotlight turns off and no one's watching. It's how you treat others, how you respond to adversity, how you carry yourself with integrity, even when no reward is guaranteed. Unlike wealth, which can come and go, character is the foundation of a meaningful, respected, and fulfilling life. There are people who possess incredible amounts of money, yet lack kindness, empathy, or honesty. And there are people with modest means whose strength of character inspires everyone around them. We don't remember people for the numbers in their bank accounts. We remember them for how they made us feel, how they stood for what was right, and how they lived their truth regardless of what they owned. Character shows in your choices, big and small. It's reflected in the way you speak to a stranger, the way you handle disappointment, and the way you stand up for someone who can't speak for themselves. It's easy to be generous when it's convenient, respectful when it benefits you, or honest when there's no risk. But true character is tested in the tough moments, when it's hard, inconvenient, or uncomfortable. That's when who you really are is revealed. You can have money and still lack wisdom. You can own property and still lose your way. You can wear designer labels and still feel insecure. But character gives you something money never can: peace of mind, self-respect, and the trust of others. It allows you to walk through life with your head held high, knowing that you stayed true to your values and treated others with dignity. In relationships, whether personal, professional, or romantic, it's not money that builds deep connection. It's character. People want to be around those who are honest, dependable, compassionate, and authentic. When you act with integrity, people trust you. When you listen and care, people open up to you. When you stand up for what's right, people follow you. These qualities are what create real influence, not wealth, but wisdom, not riches, but respect. This isn't to say that money is bad. Money is a resource. It can be used to build, to give, to grow. It can amplify who you already are. If you're generous, money can help you do more good. If you're responsible, money can bring freedom. But if you're unkind, selfish, or deceitful, money only makes those traits louder. That's why building character matters more than building wealth, because who you are determines how you use what you have. We admire people with strong character, not because they're perfect, but because they're real. They admit mistakes, they learn, they grow. They don't pretend to be something they're not. They own their story and live with humility. They don't use money or titles to define themselves. They let their actions speak. And in a world full of noise and performance, that kind of quiet strength stands out. Character is also what carries you through hard times. Money might buffer you from some difficulties, but it won't shield you from all of life's storms. When you face loss, failure, or uncertainty, it's your inner values that guide you. It's your resilience, your honesty, your compassion that keep you grounded. People with strong character don't crumble when things go wrong. They rise because their worth isn't tied to what they have, but who they are. And when it comes to legacy, the impact you leave behind, it's your character that will be remembered. No one at your funeral will talk about how much money you made. They'll talk about how you made them feel. They'll remember the times you showed up, the times you listened, the times you led with love. Your legacy is written in people's hearts, not in your net worth. The good news is that character is something you can build. It's not about being born into the right family or having the right connections. It's about daily decisions. Will you tell the truth, even when it's hard? Will you show kindness, even when it's not returned? Will you stay true to your values, even when no one's watching? Those choices, made consistently over time, shape the person you become. You don't need a fortune to be remembered as a person of greatness. You don't need riches to live a life of deep meaning. What you need is courage to live by your principles, strength to do what's right, and love enough to put others before yourself. That's the kind of wealth that can't be taken from you. That's the kind of success that lasts. So as you go through life, remember this. Money may open doors, but character keeps them open. Money may draw attention, but character earns respect. And while your cash might impress people for a moment, it's your character that inspires them for a lifetime. In the end, who you are matters far more than what you have. Choose to be someone the world can trust, admire, and remember, not for your wealth, but for your heart, your courage, and your integrity. When we think about success, we often picture personal victories, achieving a goal, earning a promotion, reaching financial stability, or gaining recognition for hard work. And while these milestones are meaningful, they don't tell the full story. True success isn't just about what you accomplish for yourself. It's about how your journey and achievements affect the people around you. Real success doesn't stop with you. It uplifts others. There's something powerful about the way success can multiply when it's shared. Think about the mentors who gave you a chance, the friends who encouraged you, the people who held the door open when you were just starting out. Chances are your journey wasn't built alone. Somewhere along the way, someone chose to help you, to support you, to believe in you. That is the ripple effect of success, and it's one of the most beautiful parts of the human experience. Success that lifts others isn't loud. It doesn't boast. It doesn't seek credit. It moves quietly and consistently through acts of generosity, mentorship, kindness, and leadership. It shows up in how you treat people when there's nothing in it for you. It shows up in the courage to advocate for someone else, the humility to share the spotlight, and the wisdom to use your platform to create space for others. There is a certain kind of joy that comes not from what you gain, but from what you give. When you help someone find their voice, when you inspire someone to believe in themselves, when you create opportunities that change someone's future, that is the essence of true success. It becomes less about accumulation and more about impact, less about personal gain and more about collective growth. You don't need to be rich or famous to uplift others. You don't need to run a company or hold a title. You can uplift others with your words, your presence, your attention, sometimes the smallest gestures, listening deeply, offering encouragement, sharing a resource. Giving someone a chance can transform a person's life. And the best part, when you lift someone else, you rise too. It's easy to get caught up in competition. We're told to be the best, to get ahead, to protect our spot. But real confidence isn't threatened by someone else's success. It celebrates it. Real strength isn't about stepping over others to win. It's about lifting others as you climb. The world is better when we help each other grow, when we recognize that we all win when we rise together. The people who are most remembered, most respected, and most loved are often not those who achieve the most on paper. They are the ones who made others feel seen, valued, and capable. They are the ones who made the people around them better, not because they had to, but because it was who they were. That is legacy. That is impact. That is success. In every area of life, work, family, community, there are opportunities to lead with compassion and generosity. Maybe it's mentoring someone who reminds you of where you once were. Maybe it's advocating for someone who doesn't yet have a voice at the table. Maybe it's volunteering your time, sharing your knowledge, or simply choosing to treat everyone with dignity, no matter their status. Each of these choices, though small on their own, build a life of substance and meaning. And when you do uplift others, something incredible happens. Your own success becomes deeper, richer, and more fulfilling. It's no longer just about your goals. It's about creating something bigger than yourself. It's about leaving the world better than you found it. This perspective also protects you from the emptiness that can sometimes follow external achievements. If success is only about you, it's easy to feel isolated or unsatisfied once the goal is reached. But when your success includes others, when it fuels hope, creates opportunity, or strengthens a community, it becomes endlessly meaningful. There's an old saying that goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. True success is about going far and going together. It's about building a life that matters not just in what you achieve, but in how you love, how you lead, and how you leave others better than you found them. When you shift your mindset from success as a solo pursuit to success as a shared journey, everything changes. You begin to see people not as competitors, but as fellow travelers. You begin to recognize that the best use of your gifts, your influence, and your resources is to help others unlock their own potential. That's where true power lies. Not in hoarding success, but in spreading it. So as you chase your dreams and work towards your goals, ask yourself this: who am I bringing with me? Who am I lifting as I climb? How am I using my success to make someone else's path a little easier, a little brighter, a little more possible? These questions are the compass of a meaningful life. In the end, true success is not measured by how far you rise, but by how many you take with you. It's not just about what you build, it's about what you build for others. Because when you uplift others, you create something far more lasting than wealth or accolades. You create legacy, you create change, you create a life that matters.